This is ABC7 News Weekend Edition. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Adam Cellini. Topping our news tonight, a new report finding Sarasota County is one of the healthiest areas in the state. And Manatee and Charlotte counties aren't too far behind. The Florida Department of Health in Sarasota County is happy with those new numbers, but believes there is room for improvement. The 2017 county health rankings were released by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation this week. It lists Sarasota County as number 3 in health outcomes and Manatee and Charlotte counties as 21 and 22 respectively. Although Sarasota is in the top 3, County Health Officer Chuck Henry says residents could improve drinking habits and drug abuse. The report finding that 18% of residents report heavy or binge drinking. That's more than 2 drinks per day for men or 1 drink per day for women. 34% of driving deaths also including alcohol. And the county has 18 people killed by drug overdose deaths per 100,000 residents. The numbers aren't any better in Manatee County, where 29 out of every 100,000 residents die from a drug overdose. Henry recognizing these issues locally.
I think there's a general awareness in our community that we've been struggling with some drug addiction problems, and those are impacting our data as well.
Coming up tonight at 11, we'll hear more from a representative from a local organization who is fighting that drug addiction to find out why the issue is maybe so prominent here on the Sun Coast. In other news, the Manatee County Sheriff's Office investigating a string of vehicle burglaries in East Bradenton. Deputies were called to Creekwood Dog Park, located on 44th Avenue East, around 7 p.m. on Saturday night after unidentified suspects forced entry into 4 vehicles located at the park. Purses containing personal items were stolen through smashed windows on some of those cars. If you have any information on these burglaries, you are asked to contact the Manatee County Sheriff's Office or Manatee Crime Stoppers at the number listed here on your screen. A motorcycle crash in Manatee County ended fatally for one Florida man. Florida Highway Patrol troopers were called to the scene at State Road 55 and 49th Street East in Palmetto around 9 p.m. on Friday when the driver of a Jeep Cherokee attempted to make a left turn and pulled out in front of a motorcyclist. Seeing that impending collision, the biker ended up jumping from his motorcycle but slid underneath the Jeep. The motorcyclist was pronounced dead at the scene, and the driver of the vehicle was uninjured. That incident remains under investigation. Today marks the start of National Crime Victims' Rights Week, which explains this green ribbon here. It's a week celebrating the perseverance of crime victims and raises awareness of the resources here in our own local community after these crimes can happen. According to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, nearly 9,500 crimes were reported in Sarasota and Manatee counties last year, each leaving behind at least one victim. Victim advocates with local law enforcement agencies and nonprofits say people often don't realize help is available during those vulnerable times. Each county will be hosting a vigil this week to celebrate the life of those victims and invite anyone to come learn about those resources that are available.
If they have thought about coming out to be just a support person, it didn't have to happen to them. We hope it didn't. But if they want to come as a support person to learn more about how we do cope and how we get along, I think I would love to invite the whole vicinity here.
Just because you got beat up by some guy at the bar, or your spouse, or you got robbed, that victimization doesn't define you. That's not who you are.
Sarasota County's vigil will take place tomorrow night at the Lee Wetherington Boys and Girls Club on Fruitville Road starting at 6:30. And Manatee County will have their vigil one day later in Bradenton at the Renaissance on 9th, and that vigil is starting at 7 p.m. The 14th annual Embracing Our Differences exhibit is now on display in Sarasota's Island Park. The outdoor public art exhibition features 45 billboard-sized works of art, with each piece of art accompanied by an inspirational quote. Students from 204 schools from over 100 countries and 48 states submitted artwork or quotes, and the work is displayed at Bayfront Park right off US 41 in downtown Sarasota. Look at that. What a collection. and helps when you got a beautiful sunlight to light up those pieces of art. Let's head over to Wendy Ross for a check on that weather tonight. Wendy?
Well, it'll be a good night to get out there to the park if you wanted to. You won't have any problems at the beach or closest to the water. But if you're just a little bit east of I-75 in parts of Manatee County and even down through Hardee and DeSoto counties, and Charlotte as well, getting some rain showers right now. You can see some of this rain popping up this afternoon, and so these showers have been coming on in, everything taking place east of I-75, and it's all moving off towards the northeast right now. So if your plan tonight is to head out to the beach, take a beach walk, maybe get down to the Bayfront Park and see that exhibit, it'll be a great night to do so. We're going to start to see a few more clouds coming on into the picture, but otherwise it's going to be a very nice evening. We'll let you know how the start of the work week is shaping up to be. That's coming up in just a minute. Adam?
Thank you, Wendy. A break in the investigation into an assault streamed live on Facebook. Officials say another warrant has now been issued, and this could just be the beginning. ABC's Eva Pilgrim has more.
Facebook draws billions of people online every day, many of the most avid users, teenagers. But now it has also turned into a way for people to broadcast crimes and for police to track them down.
They're going to be held accountable for what they did.
Chicago officials announcing the arrest of a 14-year-old boy, saying he's linked to the group sexual assault of a 15-year-old girl. It was all posted on Facebook Live last month.
No woman should ever be treated the way this young woman was.
On March 19th, the girl disappeared on her way home. Her mom, who was sent screenshots of the Facebook video, took that evidence to police.
I didn't really want to look at it that much. Her face, she was so scared.
Investigators say the recording revealed as many as 6 attackers. Police found the victim 2 days later.
It's disgusting. It's so disgusting.
The victim knew one of the offenders. I'm going to say she was lured to the residence, okay? And then from there, she was not allowed to leave, and she didn't consent to what occurred.
At some point, 40 people viewed that Facebook video, police saying none of them called 911.
It just disgusts me that people would look at those videos and not pick up the phone and dial 911.
Police say this arrest is a step in the right direction, but there are many more to come.
We have a very good idea of who these individuals are, but like I said, working with this victim at this time is very, very slow, and she's traumatized. This is, I mean, she's going to need help for a long time after this.
Eva Pilgrim, ABC News, New York.
Detectives say the girl is out of the hospital and her family has been relocated, but she continues to be bullied on social media. Well, Saturday marked the first day of racing returning to Bradenton's DeSoto Speedway since the death of veteran racer David Steele just 1 week ago. During the race intermission, drivers passed around their helmets for fans to donate money to the Steele family, raising over $1,000. The Speedway says they will continue to do this for every race throughout the month. Steele was racing in the Southern Sprint Car Shootout Series last Saturday when his front wheel collided with another vehicle. He went airborne and spun out before sliding into a wall. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Florida officials are looking into what sparked a wildfire that charred more than 700 acres in Marion County and forced people to evacuate their homes. Authorities say they do not believe the fire was an accident. The blaze began on Friday but was not largely contained until this morning. Officials evacuating more than 50 homes in that area. Those people have since been allowed to return to their homes, but one nearby resident had to be taken to the hospital for breathing problems. According to Marion County Fire Rescue, no one else has been injured. As for what may have caused this, officials with the Florida Forest Service say this fire was not an accident. And 2 outbuildings and 1 unoccupied home was destroyed in the fire. The incident is still under investigation. A musical extravaganza taking place in Bradenton today, the event Plunderfest. Hosted by none other than a local pirate group, the Anna Maria Island Privateers, an organization that has been around on the Sun Coast for the past 46 years. And their iconic pirate ship, a renovated school bus, has seen better days. The mission of today's fun was to raise funds to fix up the ship and get it in shape for the group's annual parades, because the real fun is helping kids in the community. Well, still to come here on ABC7, a daring rescue in Florida by a Good Samaritan after a fishing boat caught fire. And President Trump's continued push to repeal Obamacare amid investigations into possible Russian interference.
Our community has its struggles. The fact is, people have less than they did just a few years ago, and sadly, the need becomes more profound every day. Season of Sharing provides funds to help individuals and families in need, ensuring they will not end up homeless and without a roof over their heads. Together, providing a helping hand and making a difference. Season of Sharing. Give today at cfsarasota.org.
How long have we been married there?
For 76 years.
He was kind and generous to me before we married, and he was kind and generous to me all these years. We decided on Meals on Wheels because I was getting to the point where I couldn't do all the things that I had been able to do. We're the Spans. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
I entered into real estate to help people. I would like to invoke a trust in people that I will do everything in my power to help them navigate the process of either buying or selling a home. Well, I know how stressful buying a home can be. I've bought and sold properties in the past before I was an agent. I want you to be able to trust me to stay in contact with you, be available to you whenever you have questions. My name is Kimberly, and I want to be your real estate agent.
I believe that home is where your pet is.
And that loving an animal means never giving up on them, never letting them go.
I believe that when you spay or neuter your pets, you help decrease the number of homeless animals.
Because every dog and cat deserves a place to call home.
I believe that I found my best friend at a shelter. And you can too.
We believe that together with Best Friends Animal Society,
we can bring about a time when there are no more homeless pets.
Visit ambassadors.bestfriends.org.
Invest in Kids is a $7.5 million project to build a new Boys and Girls Club in South Manatee County. I'm Caleb Grimes, and I was a club kid. It's where I learned important life lessons, leadership, integrity, responsibility, and baseball. Thousands of kids attend the Boys and Girls Clubs, and after years of use, their club is slowly falling apart. Help us invest in kids. Make your donation today.
Attention sleep apnea sufferers. If you use CPAP therapy, if you have private insurance, or you're on a Medicare replacement plan, we may be able to help you get your CPAP supplies at little or no cost to you and free shipping. Most insurance companies allow a patient to get a new CPAP mask, cushion, filter, and tubing every 3 to 6 months to prevent respiratory infection and skin sores.
That's why you should call AmeriCare CPAP. Call 800-423-5457. That's 800-423-5457.
It could be a big week for the White House. The Senate may vote on President Trump's Supreme Court pick, but that may not be the only thing making headlines. The investigation into Russian election meddling continuing to dominate conversations. ABC's David Wright is in Washington with more.
A round of golf course diplomacy with Senator Rand Paul. Health care reform on the agenda.
I remain very optimistic that we will get Obamacare repeal.
But President Trump has a more immediate legislative goal on the horizon.
I do.
He's hoping his Supreme Court nominee, Neil Gorsuch, will be confirmed by the end of the week. On Sunday, another Democrat broke ranks to support Gorsuch. The White House needs 5 more defections to bring the nomination to a vote. Meanwhile, the Russian investigation continues to make headlines. A new poll out this morning shows a majority of Americans want an independent investigation into ties between Russia and the Trump campaign.
Obviously, if there was intentional disclosure of names of people who were in the Trump campaign, that has to be revealed. We know for a fact the Russians tried to change the outcome of our election.
The House investigation appears to be stalled over Trump's counterclaim that the Obama administration spied on Trump Tower. Today, the ranking Democrat on the committee said he's not inclined to grant former National Security Advisor Mike Flynn's request for immunity in exchange for his testimony.
We also have to determine whether he really can add value to our investigation, whether we need him to learn information we can't learn from other sources.
While Trump continues to denounce the Russia investigation as fake news, some of his cabinet members are taking a different view.
Certainly, I think Russia was involved in the election. There's no question about that. The president has not once called me and said, don't beat up on Russia, has not once called me and told me what to say, has not once...
But he isn't beating up on Russia. Should he be beating up on Russia?
Again,
All of this on the eve of what may be the biggest test yet of Trump's diplomatic skills, a critical meeting with China's president at Mar-a-Lago. David Wright, ABC News, Washington.
An update now on the investigation into a fire in Atlanta that caused a section of a major interstate to collapse. Authorities say they believe the suspect charged with arson, Basil Elby, may have started that fire because he was smoking crack. Officials promised almost immediately after Thursday's inferno that a 350-foot stretch of the Interstate 85 bridge would be replaced, but that will likely take several months. Many commuters are now bracing for a longer commute to work and school tomorrow as the first full week opens without that key link to Atlanta's northern and northeastern suburbs. Back here in Florida, a Good Samaritan helped rescue 5 people after their boat caught fire off Florida's Gulf Coast. The group abandoned the fishing boat and jumped into a raft to escape the flames. A Coast Guard helicopter lowered a rescue diver to their life raft to check on them, but just as they arrived, a man in a nearby fishing boat was able to pick up all 5 survivors and get them to shore safely. Look at that. Nobody in that accident was hurt. A close call for homeowners in Jacksonville after a crane crashed into their homes. A trimmer with a tree service had cut down part of a tree behind the woman's house when the crane operator tried to lift up the tree. The problem, it was too heavy and the crane fell, leaving the truck standing almost vertically. Also falling on the house behind the one they had been working on. Luckily, no one was hurt in the incident, even the homeowner's little dog, who the homeowner says just escaped injury when that crane fell.
She was in that window right there, and right there in that window where the crane fell. And then luckily, I guess she seen it coming down and ran, thank God, yeah. Because you can't replace her, you can replace everything else, but not her.
And there is no word on if charges will be pressed by the homeowners. What do you think Winston would do in that situation?
Oh my goodness! You think? I tell you what, I think I just had my mortgage paid for. That's what I think.
Very
and
possible.
A nice renovated kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds
well,
pretty
that
good.
way to look at the glass half full.
Oh yeah. Oh, of course, of course, that's what I would do. Well, I am looking at this weather and going, wow. If you're along the beaches, it's great. You're east of I-75, maybe not so much. But look at the temperatures once again, lots of 90s. And we are in spring, right, Adam? We are in spring. It's not summer yet. 91 degrees in many places across central Florida. The Panhandle reporting a little bit less high temperatures because of all the cloud cover that they experienced throughout the day. And then you can see along the east coast of Florida, we saw a lot of temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. But right here along the west coast, it was another warm day for us. We saw our temperatures right here at the beaches in the mid 80s, but then we see a lot of mid to upper 80s, especially as you move east of I-75. And then 90 degrees in Punta Gorda. That was the only 90-degree reading we had in our own viewing area. Officially, 85 is what's going to go down in our record books for the day. 65 degrees was the overnight low, and normally we're 79 and 60 degrees. And you can see in 1987 we got down to 40. In 1990 we had a high of 88 degrees. So it has been warmer than the 85, which is what we experienced today. But it wasn't until the afternoon, the latter part of the day, that we started to see these showers coming on in, and they just sort of erupted just east of I-75. You'll notice that the general movement is away from shore, so we're not expecting to see any showers developing along the immediate coastline, but these showers that have been popping up will continue to move away from land or away from the coastline and continue to move over towards the east coast. We're also starting to get a few more clouds moving on in, so we could see mostly cloudy skies for the rest of tonight, and then by tomorrow we're going to start to see a little bit more in the way of wind developing as a cold front starts to approach. So here's where our frontal system is right now. We're already starting to see some very heavy showers and thunderstorms developing, and this is especially taking place across the middle Mississippi Valley. And we're seeing all of this moving on up towards the Gulf Coast, and all of this wet weather is more of the energy moving on towards the north and east, but this trailing cold front is eventually going to make its way into the state of Florida, and that means that for us over the next couple of days, we're going to start to see some more windy conditions. Not as much rainfall. That takes place later on in the week, but you'll notice that on Monday we get some cloud cover developing during the morning hours, and then as the day wears on, this frontal system starts to make its way down across the state of Florida. It's going to be a weak cold front coming on in. By Tuesday, we're probably going to see some stronger winds developing as a result, but this is what it looks like. We've got the windy conditions as a result of that cold front beginning on Monday and Tuesday. So here's our 7-day forecast. We still are hot on Monday and Tuesday, but then the next cold front comes on through beginning on Thursday, and notice the temperature drop, and by next weekend, it's going to be pretty smashing. Adam?
Now, sports.
It's opening day in baseball, and all eyes on St. Pete this afternoon, where the Rays and Yankees played the first game of the 2017 season. Yankees pitcher Masahiro Tanaka gave up only 1 earned run through spring training. In the first inning of this one, Logan Morrison able to line one past Tanaka, score 2 runs, 3 runs off the Yankees ace in the first inning for the Rays. Bottom of the second, with a runner at first, Evan Longoria lines one to left, and that is your first home run in the MLB of 2017. In the third inning, Morrison again. This time he's going to touch them all. Solo shot, and that would be the last pitch from Tanaka today, pulled after just 2 2/3 inning. Chris Archer, on the other hand, masterful, able to force a ground ball here from Gary Sanchez, escaping a bases-loaded jam. 7 innings, 5 strikeouts for Archer as the Rays pound the Yankees 7-3. Saturday's Final Four college basketball game drawing 44% more viewers than last year, making it the second most watched in 19 years. Tomorrow night, perennial contender North Carolina will seek its 6th national title against Gonzaga, a team playing in their first ever championship game. Today, the Bulldogs admitting they have their work cut out for them.
Transition, obviously, I mean, it's going to be the biggest challenge, getting back and just, they're so fast and they're so good.
I think it's going to be, a lot of big bodies hitting around. He's a big guy like me, like you said. He likes to play back to the basket a lot. So obviously I'll try to stop him from going to his moves.
North Carolina is in its 2nd straight title game. The Tar Heels on the receiving end of that heartbreaking buzzer beater last year that gave Villanova its first championship in nearly 30 years. More to come here on ABC7. Stay with us.
Every person is different and every real estate deal is unique. That's why experience matters. I enjoy guiding my customers through the process of buying or selling a home because there's so much that can happen. I want them to enjoy the real estate experience as much as I do. I'm Eric Schrock with SWC Properties. I love being in real estate.
Monday on ABC7 News at 7.
It's absolutely devastating to Arch alumni to lose their family members.
After all these years, Manatee County looks into suspected cancer cluster at the Old Bayshore High. What will they find? I'm Alan Cohn. We'll hear from families of those who died and experts seeking the facts.
Monday on ABC7 News at 7. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
You might feel like there's too many problems in the world, or that, you as a 15-year-old, 16-year-old can't really make a difference.
It's not always about you. It's not just one person. It's a group. It's a team.
Just that simple act is transforming someone else's life.
It's one of the best feelings in the world.
It'll just make you feel so good about yourself.
I'd do anything to convince you just to be a part of this.
the official Suncoast Storm team at ABC7. We're here for you.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right, we will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call for your free author submission kit at 800-425-5308.
Astronaut Buzz Aldrin taking flight once again today, this time with the world-renowned Thunderbirds at the Melbourne Air and Space Show here in Florida. Aldrin was the second man on the moon, piloting the Apollo 11 and following Neil Armstrong onto the lunar surface in 1969, now at 87 years old. The retired Air Force colonel is the oldest person to fly with the Thunderbirds, a team known for their rigorous physical requirements. His flight comes as the Air Force celebrates its 70th year. But I guess after you've been in a spaceship, you know,
you can do
nothing on Earth could be more rigorous than that, than leaving the atmosphere.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's just
Still
an
doing
amazing
it, though.
thing.
87.
Isn't that great? Yeah. Super.
Probably take control. But yeah, they had clear skies, I think, right?
Oh,
for
they
most of
had
the day
great
today.
weather. No, they had great weather, especially along the beaches today. And look, there's our Osprey cam. And there she is.
Speaking of flight and clear weather, that guy.